responded in a piecemeal fashion, but are not acting in the unison or with a sense of urgency as the street-level problems continue to grow. SOS says the current approach to government is not working, and the streets and communities are becoming more unsafe. We are very concerned that we are past the tipping point and that it will take decades to correct, if not dealt with now. In addition to increasing awareness and highlighting issues and incidents of crime, SOS wants to establish a set of measurable results that prove to British Columbians with statistical evidence that show whether the streets and communities are getting safer or not. And it is our group's intention that this will be tracked not only prior to the municipal, provincial, and federal elections that are coming, but also past the election timeframes to monitor the political and justice officials' actual impact to the actions they take or say they will take. You know, we hear from government representatives and political officials all the time that they share our concerns. But we're well past the point that words don't mean much. We want to see measurable results that are shared with British Columbians. There's an urgency that all of us see at street level, and we need governments to recognize that urgency and that urgency to get to work. What is incredibly demeaning and frustrating for employees, for citizens, is that theft, vandalism, and violent crimes are being repeated by the same people over and over again. And these criminal acts go without consequence has become commonplace. We hear language from Justice Administration officials, it's not in the public interest to pursue charges. Well, we are the public, and it is in our interest to protect our citizens wherever they are in the province. The system is not working for all British Columbians, and the innocent British Columbians and neighbourhood businesses are victimized and are paying the price. Joining me today are representatives of the coalition that will speak from their broad perspectives. Today, we will hear from the Nanaimo Area Public Safety Association, the Nelson Neighbourhood Network, and Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers. These speakers will demonstrate the diversity of the SOS membership that is province-wide, that have felt it necessary to band together to ask for change. I'd now like to introduce Karen Kurka of the Nanaimo Area Public Safety Association. She is the president and founder of her neighborhood association, member of the Nanaimo Area Public Safety Association, and captain of her block watch. Karen?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Clint. 5 years ago, Nanaimo was forever changed by having one of the largest tent cities in Canada, which caused a tipping point. Since then, our community has been trying to cope with escalating changes and growth, the same changes that are now happening in communities all over our province. We're in extreme social crises: the opioid crisis, the housing and affordability crisis, the mental health and addictions crisis, all converging into a public safety emergency where in BC, the #1 cause of death between the ages of 11 and 59 is overdose. It's these conditions that prompted Nanaimo's public safety rallies last fall, which led to the province-wide safety rally in April. The province responded with a coordinated approach to targeting prolific offenders, but we're still waiting for the results promised. Now, together with businesses through the SOS Coalition, we have a collective voice that speaks volumes. My neighborhood has lost half of its businesses due to social disorder, fire, and safety concerns. Violence and crime are symptoms of a larger cause, and treating the symptom alone will not cure the cause. We need to cure both, with reformed social policy that can restore civil society rather than doubling down on what we already know is failing. Premier Eby stated that everybody deserves to feel safe in their communities. He's Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. We hear too often people's belief that this is a big city, Lower Mainland, or downtown Victoria issue. And it's certainly not, as we've just heard. We have a coalition of members from as far away as Dawson Creek, Fort St. John, Prince George, and Ticton, Duncan, that are all seeing these same issues in their communities. I'd now like to introduce Tanya Finley, Chair of the Nanaimo Neighborhood Network and an owner of a restaurant and bar in Nelson, who's driven down here all this way today to speak from the Kootenays' perspective. Tanya?
So as I stand here, looking at each of you with frustration, desperation, and fear in your eyes, I know exactly how you feel. And I'm sorry that we have to be here when we should be at work or with our families. I am a business owner for the past 20 years of a bar and a restaurant tucked in the heart of beautiful downtown, and is now the center of homelessness, crime, and addiction in beautiful Nelson, BC. The safety of our seniors, our children, the integrity of our homes, our businesses are being jeopardized, and our safety and our rights are being taken away. The negative impacts of the effects of the unhoused and people suffering with seen or unseen addictions, criminals getting away with countless crimes and being let go. The upper levels of government are now making the rules. It is clear to me that you are not sweeping up after the victims day after day. It is obvious to me that your homes, your paychecks, your businesses, your sleep, your mental health are not being threatened. You're not being defecated on, ransacked, or robbed. I feel I'm watching a government-assisted slow suicide of people that they are claiming to help. Reviving people multiple times a day and leaving them in the streets of freezing Canadian winter with no access to proper help is not dignified. It is cruel and disgraceful. The Kootenays are being swallowed up by pilot projects, band-aids, and lack of oversight and mismanagement. Drugs are killing so many people, and drug dealers are profiting for killing their clients. Criminals and dealers are more emboldened than ever before, and they are laughing at you and your laws. The reason people are afraid and worried to replace a shelter or an OPS site or a hub of any kind is because there is no guardrails. There is no way to know how we are going to be protected when we have to live beside this day after day. Saving lives and complete chaos do not go hand in hand. Compassion and love come with rules, values, and understood expectations. Then consequences when needed. Otherwise, it's lawlessness. We have wrote letters, sat through countless meetings, created groups, and we have pleaded. It is now time to stand up, reassess your actions. Since you have taken power, what you're doing is not working. Job providers are not responsible or accountable for your choices, and the costs to them are staggering, which is why many people are losing their jobs and doors are closing. Homeowners and renters should not have to have security cameras, bars, and gates to sleep safely at night. People that are suffering need dignified treatment. You are the current leader of this province, and you need to help us and them, or please step aside. To the people of BC, somewhere along the way we forgot that we had a voice, and it's our time to light a letter and speak up. This is our time. We allow others that have been muzzled for years or gagging to speak about what's happening to you. A safe place to know that your voice is being heard. Upper level of government, we need immediate action. BC is in distress. Enough is enough. The Neighborhood Network has solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya. Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers is a registered charity that receives anonymous tip information about criminal activity and provides it to the investigators for the communities of Metro Vancouver. Adam Jaffer is the president of the Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers, and I invite him to provide their perspective. Adam?
Thank you, Clint. SOS has its growing roots in communities, neighborhoods, because at the end of the day, we don't feel safe, nothing else really matters. Public safety, including safety on our streets, in our stores, and in our workplaces, in our schools, and public spaces is absolutely key to creating strong communities. Without that sense of public safety, our communities, shopping areas, and public spaces face a bleak future. And that's where we are at today. If we don't make changes for the better, we're looking at darker days ahead. Our fellow British Columbians are nervous, frustrated, and many are afraid. As you've heard, government has the ability to change that, but to do that, they need to hear from us, all of us. Governments have the resources, the expertise, the legal and legislative authority, and the responsibility to make changes that are needed to make communities feel safe again. At Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers, we work with communities, neighborhoods, and retailers every day. And our anonymous tip line hears from ordinary citizens across the Lower Mainland each and every day. We know how serious this issue is. We can hear it in the voices of the people who call our tip line. We also know how much good can come from communities that join together and speak up with one voice. Now, we need our political leaders to listen to that voice. You can hear this voice right across the province. And this tells us this is not just a Metro Vancouver problem. It's a British Columbia problem. And that is what SOS is really about. It's businesses, communities, neighborhoods coming together and saying, enough is enough. British Columbians want their streets back. We want to feel safe, and we want it safer for everyone. Crime Stoppers knows the value and the good that can come from every day's people speaking up. And it's this voice that is the very heart of our community-based organization. And like other founding partners of SOS, we want to help British Columbians to stand up and speak out. We want to stand up with one very clear message, with one voice that is heard in the legislature in Victoria, on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, and in city halls across our province. Like Clint and our founding members, we know this problem can be solved. We know our streets and stores and public spaces can be safe once again, but governments need to step up now and do their jobs.
Thank you very much. The need to establish SOS Coalition and its diversity demonstrates the depth, the frustration with all levels of government and justice administration in action. And we urge politicians and justice administration officials to come together and act now to bring safety to all our communities. Our elected officials of all levels of government must demonstrate leadership in pulling together those that have the authority, the resources, and the responsibility to make these issues a priority and to stop blaming each other and waiting for each other to act. Your citizens need and deserve better. After all, when your streets and neighborhoods aren't safe, nothing else matters. We ask government and justice administration officials to act now, and with leadership and coordination. Governments cannot succeed by addressing singular aspects of issues such as decriminalization of drugs, policing resources, homelessness, mental health and addiction, or judicial reform. A comprehensive approach by all levels of government is encouraged and required. British Columbians, all of us, need to continue to reach out to their city councillors, their MLAs, their members of parliament, demanding action, understand their platforms of change, and hold these elected officials accountable for the promises that they make coming into or well past their election cycles to keep our communities safe. And action now is critical. Staff safety, skyrocketing costs for security, and the impacts of theft to our neighborhood businesses is questioning the very viability of staying in business or moving and putting local jobs at risk. This concludes this announcement and the live stream of this broadcast. I'd like to thank members of the media and all the SOS coalitions for attending today and to understand the reason for the formation of SOS and our position. If other communities and citizen groups and BC businesses are interested in joining SOS, they're invited to contact info@saveourstreets.ca. info@saveourstreets.ca. If those in the media wish to have further media discussion with any of the members, please contact Trevor Pankhurst, T-Pankhurst @pacegroup.com. Thank you for attending today, and we hope and desire for change.